So in this video, I'm going to talk about this van behind me. I built this van in 2017 and it is now 2022, and I've made some modifications to it along the way. So let's jump into what worked, but mostly what didn't work in this video. So first off, originally this was a wider cabinet that kept a sustainer roll, a festool roll, which is a cart that you carry around sustainers such as those white boxes on. And I put those both there because my idea was the van was full of sustainers at the time. I would load the ones I needed onto the carts, roll them into the job. That didn't end up happening though. We ended up doing bigger and bigger projects, and the jobs just ended up sitting on the job and we didn't use the carts. So I modified this because originally the vacuums were up high. I modified it so the vacuums were down low and very accessible, and I removed those two carts. So that was the first big change we made. The next one, which is a pretty obvious one, is we switched from sustainers to sustainers and a combination of T-stacks. These are a DeWalt product that have a drawer on them, and they're called T-stacks. And the reason we switched to them is because we created a job site organization system. Sorry, I'm squinting. The sun's like right in my eyes. I switched them because we have job site systems. So we have 3 of these in total. And basically, it has all the tools we need for doing remodeling: grinders, sandpaper, adhesives, spackle knives, paintbrushes, all the stuff we need, right? So we have one of these on each job site, and the paintbrush one here is the exact same as the one on the job site. So I basically just did a carbon copy and swapped that in for efficiency's sake. Back here, you'll see I modified to just have some open cabinets. So there were certain tools we didn't use that much, like a joist hanger gun or a roofing nailer, but it was good to have them in the vehicle, but they didn't need to be in a sustainer. They could just be out in the open. So I created some open space just to put those in there, and you basically just line them up and the partition could be moved. It was a little more efficient. Track saw on the ceiling. I don't know if you can see it up there, but I mount it on the ceiling, and what happens is if there's junk on the floor in the van, it's too hard to get in there, so it gets thrown on the floor. So I would prefer to have the track saw stowed in a place where you can slide it in from the side, like I do for the 4-foot track at the side door. What else do I not like? I wish I had a hole in the partition to put large items through. Sometimes this thing just doesn't hold long enough material, and I want that little bit of extra space, and I don't have it because I went with a solid partition and I don't want to cut a hole in that one. So I wish I had that hole in the partition just for that once in a while when you want to run something through. The reel. So I went with an auto retracting reel instead of an old like crank one, and the problem with that was it only has 50 feet of cord, and that was actually this one 50 feet of cord, and that was a bad choice because usually 50 feet is not enough to get the van power, and usually it really needs 100. So I would go with a traditional 100-foot reel that I would crank by hand next time, because that would make it a lot easier to plug in. Battery charging, you can see I did it all the way at the front of the vehicle, and it's accessible through the side door, but only if you're very tall. So I would put those battery chargers a little bit lower that a shorter person could get them, or I don't have to reach in quite as far. Next thing is the compressor all the way at the front of the vehicle, just by that sawhorse is where I keep the compressor. It was so heavy and bulky, so annoying to put it all the way back there. I'd get the heavy items closer to the door if I could next time. And the last thing is I don't have a spot for a trash can in here. We have trash bags right up here. So we always have a trash bag, but no place for a trash can, and there's always trash accumulating in the van, and I wish I just created a spot to put a trash can. I probably would do that on future builds. So that's my complaint. The other complaint is on the side door. I have the table saw vertically. It's a spot that's too tight. I should have some more room so you could just throw the table saw in instead of having to mess with the fence every time. That's a huge time suck. I hate that. So that's pretty much it. Overall, good van design, but there are a couple things I would change that I don't like. So if you found this helpful, please like and comment and subscribe and do all that stuff YouTubers tell you to do. Hit the bell and ring the gong. It helps me feel better about myself, and confidence is all a big part of making these audacious videos about what I'm doing right.